Okay. I certain stories cannot be told in a hurry, and that's one of the things. Living in bondage. Okay, when I left school, TV College Jos, where I trained, I was 87. I came to Lagos to look for employment, and then there was no employment anywhere. Government was going through under the military regime of Babangida. The nation was going through excruciating pains. SAP was everywhere, structural adjustment program, and people were sapped here and there, so there was no employment. There was an embargo. So now that we couldn't find job, Shengo Wigwe, who was then the general manager of NTA, I got a referral because I had a very good result from Jos. So someone sent me to him. And then he looked at my result. It was so good. Said, but there's no employment. So he called his friend, Chief Chief Michael Okbara, who was the wrestling champion, world wrestling champion, at Surulere, at Alhaji Masha, number 70 Alhaji Masha, sent me to him. And I went there. The guy took me to start working with him as a media person who records his fights and some of the things he does. And then that's where I got that small employment. But it wasn't long. Pa Mike relocated to the east, retired and relocated to the east. So we're back to the employment market. But within the short period I was with him, there is one major event that took place at the National Stadium, just a stone throw from his office. It was a cultural show, they called it. And then somebody that, where I was staying in Ajegule, a young man there gave me the job to record. Because we had equipment in Pamak for his fight. So I used this equipment to go and record, charged them 3,500 naira. And they paid. I went to record the cultural thing. But it ended up to be a cult ceremony. I didn't know then until I finished the recordings and submitted the tape. The guy was now wooing me to join that occult. I've said this story in the public domain a long time, so sometimes I don't like so that it doesn't sound like broken record. But to cut it short was that I couldn't join that when I found out the name of the occult, and I said, that's not what I'm here in Lagos to do. So I determined that moment that story must be told to the world. How people join the occult, how people are wooed and brought in, young ones, and indoctrinated into the rituals in order to make money to earn a living. But after I left my mic, and then I was now in the market looking for another employment, I couldn't find. So and this thing was uppermost in my mind that I must make it. I started hawking on the streets of Lagos to raise the budget for the film. It was 150,000 I was looking for then. It wasn't coming. It comes today, tomorrow, something happens, the money depletes and all that. But within that period, things were so rough that somebody preached to me to go to God. I got born again and went to the guy who took me to church. And the pastor preached a message that touched my life. And I made a vow to God that if he can lead me to find my destiny in life and do what I want to do, that I will come back and continue to serve him. And it happened. But the man of God told me, said, always go back to Abigi, where you will always keep in touch with the practice so that you don't lose touch with your colleagues. So every evening after I hawk up to the time when we gather at Abigi, I will go to Abigi, drop my words, and we'll continue to practice. So someday, Frank Vaughan, John Ikemanko, Wale Macaulay, Sidney Diala, and a few of them were rehearsing something called Vices. It was a soap opera pilot they were going to do for TV. And I showed up one evening, and I was watching them from afar off. And then they made some stage directional mistake. Now I shouted from where I am. I told them that that's not what they should have done. They said, what's the mistake? And I told them. Frank said, okay, let's correct it and let's try it. And they tried it. It was perfect. So they begged me, can't you just come and help us put this together? Because it appears you know this. That's where I met Ruth Osu. And that was the last day I hawked.
How were you hawking?
I was hawking ladies' wears, not wears, but cosmetics. Those things that ladies will use. The creams, the shampoos, all those things. That's all I was doing. One of the companies I'm manufacturing to was also on a large masha called, what's the name of the company now? Hilshin. But they're no longer there now. Their documents, there's this thing, papers. I kept them, my students saw all of these things. When I would do my documents, all these things will show. So I started resuming there every morning instead of hawking until they recorded that movie, that TV soap opera, packaged it and took it. On that set, Mrs. Ruth Osu, who is still living in Shomolu today, gave me a referral to Kenneth Novo because he interviewed me. I said, why are you this like this and you're hawking? I said I was hawking to make him some money to make a film. He said, you don't need to. There are sponsors. I can give you a letter to somebody who sells cassettes, who can also give you money to make this movie. That's how I went to Kenneth Novo. And I told him who I am and who I came from. He said, recognize Ruth, but doubted my capacity. If I go and bring my certificate, then he will know that I know what I'm doing. So I went to Rajegule, where I was hawking, squatting, and came back with my certificates. The rest is history. So I insisted that I wasn't going to use an ordinary VHS camera. I was going to use a super VHS camera. At that moment, Aromire, Alade Aromire was still doing film here. Mike Orihedema in the southeast and some people in the north. Jaguar was also doing some things. Jaguar, my beleo, my heart, okay, this guy. So I told him what I wanted to do. He said, but that story is dangerous. So I said, the man who is down needs no fall anymore. Give me the opportunity to tell this story. I said, okay. He went to Japan and came back with a super VHS camera and told me to gather my artists. That's how we started this job. That's how we began to. Of course, he himself had made Ajeni Iyami by that time. He has made a film called Ajeni Iyami with Hamid Oguntade. That's how we rehearsed that story. I went to NTA, brought one of my directors who taught me in school, Chris Obirapo, to direct the film. I got Andy, who played the lead role at Osiquip, where he was a marketing officer in Apapa. Ghana, was in Mafoloku then, in Kemowood. A lot of people, so we Ngozi shoot them, Bob Marley Odoku. Wale Macaulay couldn't join us because he couldn't speak Igbo. So that's how the story became, and my business analysis to him was that if we put 150,000 in this job and we just sell 1,000 cassettes at 300 naira, we have doubled our money. You understand? It was so easy. But within 1 month of releasing that movie, we sold 20 million naira worth of goods. But that was a new fight. I had no agreement with him. So I didn't get a cover. Well, I got a cover. I got 35. My money for logistics during out the production. And 1,500 and 2,000 my hospital bill after I finished editing that movie and fell sick because I worked day and night with 2 editors, not sleeping. I worked with 2 editors. The names are Sam Ekandem. Sam is still around. He works with Cowbell now. Then they were with Sam Ekandem and Victor Enemosa. Victor is now in the US. They were working with Swift. They were the editors in Swift then. That's where I got them. And they were not Igbos. So it meant that I was going to be awake to tell the story. But I didn't direct the movie. Chris Obirap directed, but it's Delta Igbo, so his Igbo is not too strong. But beyond that, he had some issues with the executive producer, so he wasn't going to do the edit. But I was a trained editor, so I told my story, and the story is mine initially. So the film came out. It became a huge success.